In the first video, we looked at what a compressor does and why we use them. In this video, we're going to talk about how to use one. I'll be using Alloy from Isotope since it has a good real-time display that makes it easy to see what's happening. On the left is a meter that shows how loud the signal is as it comes into the compressor. Over on the right is a meter that shows how loud the signal is as it leaves after it's been compressed. And in the middle are the controls we use to configure it. This is a recording I'll be using, and as you can see, it starts quietly and gradually gets louder. First thing we want to do is configure the threshold. This is the point at which the compressor will kick in, and as I explained in the first video, everything quieter than the threshold will pass through unchanged, while everything louder gets squashed down. I'll set it to about minus 20 dB. Next, we set the ratio, which controls how much the loudness will get squashed down once it goes over the threshold. 2:1 is a good place to start. These are the most important settings for a compressor, the threshold and ratio. The graph here is a visual representation of how the compressor has been configured. The horizontal axis is the loudness coming in, and the vertical is the loudness going out. So you can see that as the input loudness increases, the output loudness also increases linearly, until we get to the threshold, minus 20 dB, when the compressor kicks in and output loudness goes up more slowly at a ratio of 2:1. Now, let's play the sound. And we can see that while the input peaked at minus 0.5 dB, the compressor did its job and the output only peaked at minus 6.9. And if we compare the waveforms, we can see that the loud part of the recording has been clamped down, making the overall volume of the recording more even. Let's try again with a higher ratio. I'll set it to 4:1. Reset the meters. And play the sound again. And we can see that the output has been squashed down even more. Let's try once more using the compressor as a limiter. Alloy has a separate limiter section, but we can achieve almost the same kind of effect using a compressor by setting a really high ratio. 50:1. Play the sound again. And we can see that the output has been completely squashed down and the volume is almost constant. The other things that usually need to be configured are the attack and release. The attack controls how quickly the compressor kicks in when the volume exceeds the threshold. Setting this low means that the loudness gets clamped down almost as soon as it happens, but the leading edge of a sound is often what gives it its character, so setting this too low can often affect the feel of the sound. So probably the best thing to do is to start low and then slowly increase it until the compression is transparent and not affecting the quality of your sound. The release is similar and controls how quickly the compressor turns off after it has started. Okay, let's try a real-world example. This is a recording of some saxophone with a lot of dynamic range. The first part is too quiet, but we can't simply push up the volume since the second part would become far too loud. So we'll push it through a compressor. I'll set the threshold to about minus 25. And the ratio to 4:1. And after the signal has been compressed, we can now push the volume up a bit, say 8 dB of makeup gain. Now, let's try again. And we can hear quite a difference. We've made the first part clearly audible, but without making the second part too loud. So, that's our quick look at compressors. The audio used in this video can be downloaded at the website, and don't forget to check out the rest of the site for other tutorials and samples.